everyone, I'm Liz Cordero, and I want to welcome you to my new channel, Astrally Charmed. I want this space to be a channel where I can share with you about everything that interests me, from astrology to tarot and feng shui. I want it to be an eclectic collection of videos ranging from talks about what's happening astrologically to a place where I can pull out my tarot cards to answer any questions you have or I have, and where I can share with you how I'm decorating my own spaces using feng shui. So again, thanks for joining me, and let's get started with what's on my mind today, which is the upcoming June solar eclipse. Okay, so let's talk about the upcoming solar eclipse that is happening on June 21st at 2:40 a.m. EST for those of us on the East Coast. I know there's a lot of information out there on what we can expect astrologically speaking, but I wanted to share information on how our ancestors and different cultures around the world viewed this phenomena because I think there's wisdom to gain from every culture, and I just find the subject fascinating. So let's jump in. First off, what is a solar eclipse? A solar eclipse is a cosmic phenomenon that occurs about twice a year, and what happens during a solar eclipse is that the moon will cover the sun as we view it from here on Earth, and in parts of the world where it's more visible, the rays of the sun are covered by the moon, and so these parts of the world, for example, Africa, the Middle East, they become a little bit darker. Now, this particular solar eclipse is especially rare because it's falling on the same day as the solstice, when we're welcoming in the summer days, right? So this eclipse is especially charged. Now, how did different cultures handle and view this phenomenon? Well, let's start with some of the more darker views of the solar eclipse, where we have the Vikings. They believed that during a solar eclipse, sky wolves would chase the sun and eat it. Ancient Chinese mythology says that celestial dragons would consume the sun. In fact, the current word for eclipse is Shi, meaning to eat. In the Hindu culture, we have the story of Rahu, a shadow entity that was beheaded by the gods for having drank their special godly nectar. Once beheaded, Rahu's head flew the skies all over, eventually swallowing the sun. Outside of the beliefs that the sun was somehow swallowed or eaten, there were cultures that have different takes. For example, we have the Tewa tribe of New Mexico who believed that during an eclipse, the angered sun leaves the skies and returns to its home in the underworld. After his anger passes, he then returns to the skies. Similarly, in South America, the Inca believed that Inti, the sun god, would show his displeasure through an eclipse, and to try to please him and show their adoration, the Inca would sacrifice livestock and would fast for days after an eclipse, including the Incan king, who would withdraw from the public and from his duties during this time. Finally, the Greeks believed that a solar eclipse was a sign of angry gods, and with their wrath came disaster and destruction. Now, not all cultures have such gloom and doom beliefs. Some had softer and more hopeful views. For example, a belief that has persisted in Italy is that plants and flowers planted during a solar eclipse will grow to be more vibrant and beautiful. The Batamaliba tribe in African Benin and Togo, they believe that during an eclipse, the sun and the moon were in conflict with one another, and the only way to heal this relationship was for those on earth to resolve their own conflicts and set an example for the sun and the moon in this way. This message is really one to reflect on now with all the hurt going on in the world. If anything, let's take this eclipse moment to reflect on our own anger and figure out how to resolve our conflicts in a just way. And yes, that comes with a lot of work that's really hard to do, but let's take this boost of energy we're getting from the eclipse and let's get to work. Peace and love to all of you.